Folks, it's amazing how some people just don't take serious the wording in a contract. I'm going to talk about that and the latest home prices and insights for the City of Toronto for week ending May 24th, 2023. So the situation I'm going to explain right now happened a while back, and I spoke about it here, and it's happened again, and it's just so important, worth talking about one more time. We have a listing. It's a new listing. Lots of showings. It's going great. A family comes in. They have a look at one of the showings. They love it. They book a second showing. This time they show up with more family. They love the house. They book a third showing, and this is all like one day after another. They book a third showing. They come in with measuring tapes, and they're measuring the room out. At each showing, that agent, their agent, the buyer's agent, is phoning me, asking me questions, all excited about the house, telling me how much they love it, probably telling me more than what he should be telling me, but they love the house, and it's obvious that they've been back 3 times that they love the house. But still, no offer. I do receive an offer from somebody else who viewed the house. We're going to call that person Buyer A. And when Buyer A sends the offer, we register it, and everybody who's seen the house gets a message saying, we have an offer. Well, Buyer B, we're going to call the family that's been there 3 times. They also, the same evening, send an offer. So now I got 2 offers, Buyer A and Buyer B, who's been to the house 3 times already. Both of these offers expire at midnight, and it is about 5 o'clock in the evening right now. So I've got these 2 offers. I'm speaking to both sides. I'm trying to obviously get the price higher. I'm talking to them about conditions. I'm talking to them about their clients, their buyers. I'm getting all the information I can. So this way, when I sit with my clients, the sellers, I could give them as much information as possible, and we could figure out what to do. Well, I speak with my sellers. We discuss it, and we look at Buyer's B offer, and we decide, first of all, this is the better offer, and through discussions, really, this was the best opportunity to get the kind of price that my sellers were looking for. So we decided we're going to counter offer Buyer B. And that's what we did. We counter offer, we send the counter offer to Buyer B, and we changed the price, and we changed the irrevocable time. Now, it was expiring at midnight. We changed it to 9 p.m. It is currently about 6 p.m. So they have about 3 hours. The reason we changed the irrevocable is because it's early on in the listing. It's only been on the market a few days. It was 4 or 5 days, and it was very, very busy. And I don't know if someone else is going to be sending in an offer. So why are we going to tie up the property till midnight and these people have already been there 3 times? Like, they should know by now if we want it. And we're not rushing them. We're giving them 3 hours. We're countering their offer. So that's what we do. We changed the irrevocable till 9 p.m. I called Buyer B's agent and said, look, we gave you the counter offer back. That's the price my clients are looking for. And we changed the irrevocable till 9. He said, no problem, plenty of time, and thank you, and I'll get right on it with my clients. As courtesy and professional courtesy, I call Buyer A and say, listen, my clients have chosen to work with Buyer B, and we countered their offer, and we've put the irrevocable time till 9 p.m. I tell Buyer A that. Well, 8:30 rolls around. I've not had anything back yet. The counter offer, nothing's happened yet. I call the agent and I say, Buyer B agent, what's happening? You've had the offer for 2.5 hours now. He says, oh, they're discussing it. They seem happy with everything. I'm pretty sure we're going to accept it. So I say, great. Remember, it expires at 9. He says, oh, no problem, lots of time. 9 o'clock hits. I've got nothing. I've got no accepted offer. They didn't counter offer. I received nothing from buyer B. But at exactly 9 p.m., buyer A phones me and says, Santo, is it sold? I said, no, not yet. I've not received anything back. And he says, okay, irrevocable you said was 9? I said, yeah, it's 9 o'clock now. He goes, okay, you in front of your computer? I said, I am. I'm at my desk. He says, okay, I'm hitting send. He tells me that they've improved their offer. It's a non-negotiating offer, meaning that's the best price his clients are going to do. We should either accept it or just leave it alone. So it's 9:01. It's in my inbox. I open it. And buyer A's improved offer is actually a little better than the counter offer we sent to buyer B. I open up the email. I send the offer to my clients. I'm discussing it with them over the phone. It took a whole of 3 or 4 minutes for my clients basically to go, yeah, let's accept it. We're good. We're happy. Everything's great. And that's what we did. By 9:10, 9:15, it was all signed off, accepted through electronic signatures. My clients accepted it. I send it back to buyer A. Property sold. About almost 9:30, buyer B calls me, the agent for buyer B, and says, hey, good news. We got a deal. My clients are just signing off on it now for acceptance. I said, buddy, it's sold. He says, what are you talking about? I said, yours expired at 9. Remember buyer A that you were competing with? Yeah, well, shortly after 9, he sent me an offer and we've accepted it already. Because how could you do that? I said, what are you talking about? How can we do that? You let it expire. He goes, no, my clients were discussing it. I know. But did you not explain to them at 9 o'clock if we don't have the acceptance, there's no deal? Did you not, even if they sign it, acceptance, it's after the fact. Like, did you, as a realtor, not explain this to your clients? And he says, oh, that's not fair. I said, not fair? Do you think the whole world is waiting for you? Like, we got into a bit of a discussion there. He's totally wrong. Listen, folks, what's written in the contracts is important. There's a reason it's there. And in this case, it's the irrevocable time. Like, time is of the essence. And there's other elements of the agreement we can get into. That's a whole other discussion, but it boils around the same thing. Take seriously what's written there. The world is not going to wait for you. You can't have the casual attitude, yeah, it expires at 9, but 9:30 we can get around to it. Like, that's just not right. And it cost these buyers, which I still believe really love the house, but it cost them. Now, maybe they're so relaxed about it, it cost them. Maybe their realtor didn't explain to them properly the essence of the time, how important it is that they figure this out before the time. Maybe. But either way, they lost out. And folks, simple things could really cost you. Who you hire matters, and respecting what's in writing really, really matters. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from this video, subscribe. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Let's get into the numbers. Here we are, folks. We are deep into the spring market, and it's just not as active as we thought it'd be. By active, I mean volume. We're just not seeing the volume that we thought or we expected to see in a spring market. Prices are climbing. They've been continuing to climb for a while now, Months of inventory is changing. What's going on? You tell me if you feel prices are going to start to come down now, because they are sitting pretty high. Let me get into the numbers. There's lots to talk about this week. So here's a quick summary. Condos, semis and detached, these are all average price, average sold prices, and detached is up here. Detached, 1,934,000. Condos, 772,000. This is for week ending May 24th. The price gap has been climbing. It is now 1,162,000. The difference between average condo price and average detached price. That's a lot. 1,162,000. Let's start off with detached. This is for the City of Toronto for week ending May 24th, broken down by week for a whole year. I've got lots of stuff scribbled on here. Sales. Sales came down. It's come down 2 weeks in a row. Now I know for week ending May 24th, the long weekend was in there, and we often will see sales drop over any kind of long weekend or any kind of holiday, and probably that's what happened there. So sales are down. Average sold price continues to climb, now at 1,934,000. Let's look at a few other stats here. Peak was February last year at 2,075,000. We are currently only 7% lower. I'm saying only 7% lower than peak pricing, because we used to be 20 and 30% lower than peak pricing. We're only 7% lower. 7% is about $141,000 lower than peak pricing. But that was peak. That was a year and a half ago. It seems a whole other world. Let's talk about recent history. If we take the bottom, now I'm not saying that this is the bottom forever. I'm just saying recent history, our lowest price point was October, November time. Average price around that time was about $1,575,000. We are now 23% higher than recently the lowest price. 23% higher. 23% is almost $360,000 higher than where prices were the fall of last year. A lot has happened in just a few months. Let's look at this a little closer. 1,934,000 is 9% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of 1,525 is also 9% higher than where the median price was. And looking at the dotted line, which is a 4-week moving average, both median and average price, it's so clear, have been trending upwards. Prices, home prices have been increasing. It's getting more expensive to buy. Looking at the sales, they've been coming down. Of the 176 that sold, 64% sold at list price or more, so that's down from the previous week. Look at listings, and I'm looking at the orange. The blue, those are listings a year ago for the same period, but just looking at the orange, you know, part of the spring market, listings are going up, and that's normal. We would expect that. We would expect listings to continue to increase, but they didn't. They've been coming down now, so I've got like spring and a question mark, like what's happening to the spring market? Now, I'm saying normally we would expect it. We really haven't seen a strong spring for 3 or 4 years now. So I don't know, is this the new normal? Should we just take the spring market out of the real estate vocabulary, because we've not seen a real spring market for a while now? Look at months of inventory. Months of inventory has been coming down. Prices have been going up. But for several weeks now, months of inventory has been increasing. Now, normally when months of inventory goes up, prices tend to come down. It's not an exact science. Months of inventory is the relationship between supply and demand. And by me saying it's not an exact science, it doesn't mean that like it has to happen the exact same week. So maybe there's a delay, because with months of inventory going up, we would be expecting prices to come down. They haven't. They've been continuing to grow or to go up. Well, are we going to see that in the coming weeks? That's my question to you. Let me know in the comments below. Here's City of Toronto as a whole. Now, we said for all of Toronto, months of inventory is 1.5. Sold at list price or more is 64%. That gives you an idea of what's happening across the city. But man, neighborhoods behave so much different. And these are not even like tight neighborhoods. This is still big areas. For example, all of Scarborough, months of inventory is 0.9, and 84% of the properties sold, these are detached properties, are sold at list price or more. Well, 84% and 0.9 is a big difference between 64% and 1.5 months of inventory. So you can't look at this and think this is how it's going to be across everywhere. Scarborough, you're going to get it's one market in Scarborough. The Beaches, Riverdale area, months of inventory is 1.2, 56% sold at list price or more. And that's a bit low because it's normally been up in the 70s and 80s for East York. Look at York Mills, Rosedale area. The average sold price is almost 3.4 million. Less than a third are selling at list price or more. 1.9 is the months of inventory, so you're going to experience a whole different buying and selling atmosphere there. And it's important to know. So when I look at this and a client calls me and says, I want to buy a property in High Park, for example. Well, last week, only 6 properties were sold in High Park. Average months of inventory sitting at 2.8. Well, we're getting, pretty close to what we would start to call more of a balanced market. That's for this week, the behavior right now, what's happening. Big difference from a 0.9 months of inventory. So that's why I put this chart and I break it down and talk about the different areas of Toronto, because there really is a different buying experience. Let's look at semis. 67 semi-detaches were sold. 28 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price climbed up to $1,421,000. 1421 is 5% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price of 1330 is 2% higher than where the median price was a year ago. And median and average price have been trending upwards quite a bit when it comes to semi-detached properties. Months of inventory still quite low, sitting at 0.7. 76%, so 3/4 of all semis sold at list price or more. Very competitive. If you call and say, hey, I want to buy a semi, I'm going to tell you, very competitive to buy a semi. Townhouses, sales dropped way down. 16 freehold townhouses were sold across the city of Toronto. Can you imagine? Such a big city, millions of people, lots of freehold townhouses, only 16 were sold. 4 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price climbed up to $1,441,000, which is 16% higher than where the median price was, than where the average price was a year ago. The median price is actually 1% lower than where the median price was a year ago. And looking at the 4-week moving average, it's kind of tough to say what's happening. It looks like average sold prices have been going up. These is for townhouses, but they're a bit steady now. But you got to understand, when sales are so low, 16, 20, 25, it's really difficult to get a true average. So the pocket that you're looking in, that's what's going to determine what are townhouses in that neighborhood. Months of inventory jumped up to 1.4 months of inventory. 63% of the townhouses sold at list price or more. Here's condos. Sales dropped. Is it because of the long weekend? Perhaps. We see it often, long weekends, sales coming down. So sales dropped to 286. Average sold price climbed up a bit to $772,000. 772 is 7% lower than when we were at our peak pricing, which was March last year of $832. So we're about $60,000 lower than peak pricing. We're not that far off from our high point of peak pricing. 772 is 1% lower than where we were a year ago. And the median price is 1% higher than where we were a year ago. Median price is 700,000. Both median and average price are trending up, although if you look closely, average price is trending up much more steeper than what the median price has been trending up. Of the 286 that sold, a little bit over half, 52% sold at list price or more. Listings are coming down. We listed 607 condos. You see, it's spring. We want to see listings go up, but it's not happening. Now, months of inventory has been climbing for a while now. We're sitting at 1.9 months of inventory. We're getting closer to a buyer's market. Still a seller's market, but we're getting, not a buyer's market, sorry, getting closer to a balanced market. But look at pricing here. Months of inventory is going up. Pricing is kind of inching up. Where are we going to be in the next few weeks, especially with if months of inventory continues to climb? Here's a summary of months of inventory. Months of inventory is an important part of looking at the data, understanding what's happening between supply and demand, and it really helps us to understand what's happening with pricing. It's really, really interesting, the market right now. It's really difficult to predict, and there's things happening with pricing and volume and that really are difficult to explain sometimes, and a lot of that is just because all this revolves around buyer's attitudes, seller's attitude. Public sentiment really is what moves a lot of this stuff. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.